Hello, everyone. So today we are going to discuss about chatbot projects. Uh, we are going to create this chatbot project using Spring AI, and then for the LLM experience, we are going to use OpenAI API, and for frontend, we are going to use React.js. So here are the steps we are going to do on part of this project today. Okay, first, create OpenAI API key. So this API key is required for to access OpenAI API. Second, create Spring Boot application for chatbot using Spring AI. So we are going to create a Spring Boot backend applications using Spring AI. Basically, this backend application will access the OpenAI API. Okay. And once the backend application is ready, then we are going to test using Postman or curl command. And for fourth step, we will create a front-end application using React.js. Okay, so basically we need to give the user experience, the real chatbot user experience. Okay, and in fifth step, we are going to integrate the React front-end React application with our backend applications, our Spring Boot backend application. Basically, by default, the LLM mode is stateless, means it will not remember our chat history. So it will be like a question and answer conversations. Okay, that is the by default behavior of OpenAI API. To enable the chat experience, we need to store the conversation into the memory, right? For that, we are going to use in-memory storage to achieve that. But in in this in-memory storage, we have the capacity of just store past 20 conversations only. Okay, if for 21st conversation, the least recently used the old conversation will be deleted from the memory. Okay, and in the seventh step, we are going to use PostgreSQL for to store this chat memory. Why are we doing that? Because Postgres SQL is a persistent storage, right? So we can store any number of conversation history, and then it will be retained always, right? Until unless we are clearing the memory, we are clearing the database. Okay, so this is the summary of the projects we are going to create today. Let's deep dive into each of the steps one by one. First, let let us create a API key in the OpenAI. Okay, so here I'm in dashboard of the OpenAI platform. Let me go to API keys. Here, if you see, I already created my API key. Okay, so I have a API key ready already. We need to create a new API key. You can click on this, create new secret key, and give a name and select a project, and then just create a secret key. This key you can store it safely. So if you missed it, again you have to create a new key. That's the only thing. Once API key is created, then you have to export this API key as an environment variable. For example, I already exported. Uh, when okay, so anyway, I already exported. Once- I think name is different. Okay, so by security, I don't want to show my API key here. Okay, that's the thing. So basically, we completed the first step. Let's move on to the second step. Let's go ahead and create Spring Boot applications. So for that, I'm going to use Spring Initializer. Okay, we are in Spring Initializer. I'm selecting project as Maven, language is Java, and I'll use 3.5.9 Spring Boot versions for this. And I'll add a group as Spring A and artifacts as Chatbot. Demo project for Spring Boot, Spring A Chatbot. Okay, and packaging, I selected a jar. Properties, configuration as properties, I'll use Java 17. Let's add dependencies. I'll add a Spring Web dependency. This is just for the basic starter functionality. And I'm open AI. Okay. To add OpenAI dependencies, also and to add validations to validate the input output parameters. Right. Let's generate the project. Okay, the project's got downloaded. Let's me import it into the IntelliJ. Okay, I imported a new chatbot application into my IntelliJ. If you see here, let me open the pom.xml. Here, if you see, we have just Spring Boot starter, dependencies, and then AI started for OpenAI, and the Spring AI artifact ID, this we added. So basically, that's all dependency we record for just to create, communicate with OpenAI API. Okay, so we have application.properties and then application we have. Okay, now let me create a new packages called controller. Okay, and here we are going to add our controller, and then let me add a new package for model, and then we are going to create configuration class as well for chat client. So for that, I'll create separate packages. So next, I'm going to create the model classes. I'll keep it as input. This input class is just for the prompt input. Let me keep it as record since we don't need. I mean, we can avoid the boilerplate code, right? Okay. So we just have only one input, a string prompt, and we can add validations, right? Not blank. Okay. That's all for input. Let me create a new class output. I'll keep it this also as a record. Provide a boilerplate code. This I'll keep it as content. Content basically this is just a response, right? Next, let's create a new configurations. So to communicate with the OpenAI API, we need the chat client. Okay, that's for that. Instead of directly auto wiring into the controller class, I just have it separate configuration class. Okay, and I name it as AI chat client config. Okay, I label it as configuration class. Let us create a bean chat client. Okay, we need a chat client to communicate with OpenAI API. For this, like return chat client. Yes. Okay, so here what I'm going to do instead of getting chat client directly, I'll get builder. Okay, and here I'm going to add one advisor. Why we need advisors? Like we can add advisors for to enable the login, right? For example, let me add a default advisors. Here I'm going to pass simple login. Okay, so what is the use of this simple logger advisor, right? During request response, we can clearly see like what are the request is going to the OpenAI API and what are the response we are getting it from that, right? So for that, I'll enable this advisor and let's label this method as a bean, right? That's all we need it here. I'm going to create a controller class. I will call it as chat controller. I will label it as REST controller. And let's add request mapping. So I'll just add a default, just a base path. That's enough for now. And here, private. Final. We need a chat client, right? Let's import it here. And I'm going to use the constructor dependent injections. Let me create a method. So here, basically, what we are going to do, we need the content, the response content as output, right? Let me add that here. Response entity, and we have an output model, right? We call it this method as just a chat. And, we need a request body, right? Request body, nothing but it's just a input prompt, right? Also, for each chat, we need to differentiate, right? What we can do, we just need some kind of ID, chat ID maybe. I'll get this chat ID from cookies instead of query parameter or request parameter. Cookie will be the better approach. Let me use that key value. And I'll name it as yes chat ID might be, yeah, required. I'm not uh, consider this as mandatory. Let's give a name for this and let's bind with a variable, right? String chat ID. Yeah, I've got to go with what happened. Okay, so we just need to, the return statement is missing, that's the error here. We'll do that. I'll just add some Jakarta validations. Okay. Now what I'm going to do initially, when the conversation is started, we'll not have chat ID, right? Let's add that. Like if we have a chat ID already, then we'll use it. Otherwise, we'll create a new chat ID. Okay. So for that, what I'm going to do, chat ID, you know, like a null, sorry, null. Then using UID util functions, I'll create a new ID, or let's use a chat ID. That that's all right. Okay. Next, let's connect with the chat client, like chat client dot prompt. So we are going to prompt with the your input, right? So for that, I'm going to pass our input prompt the user method. Okay, so this is the one. Here we need to add advisors. In this advisor, what we are going to do, right? We're going to pass our chat user ID. Basically, if you are not, this step is not required right now because we are not going to store anything in the memory, right? Chat memory. Let's do this first. Here, next, what I'm going to do, response cookie. So basically, we will get a response from OpenAI API, and we will bind this. Let's have the cookie also, right? Let's bind this cookie, the chat user ID in the cookie. Okay, chat user ID. Okay, and let's keep path as base path. We don't need to add any specific path right now. The max age, let's give max age, the duration of storing this value in the cookie. Let me give, how many seconds? 600 seconds maybe. That is more than enough. Let's build it. So we got a response. We created the cookie. Let's create output object since we are going to create. I'm going to send this output object in the response, right? And chat response. And let's return the response entity. We will bind all these values, the response, the output object, and cookie. And we will send it back. What happened? Return. Yeah. Okay. I think we'll add a post mapping here. Was there? Here, parameter is fine. Ignore the response and we created cookies. Okay. Let me check what's the issue. Okay, let's see. We did wrong. Response entity. So this is not accepting current parameter. Okay. I imported from wrong package. That's the problem. We have to import from Spring Framework HTTP, not from EA, right? Now I think we are good. Header. In the header, what will pass HTTP headers dot set cookie. Cookies we are going to. We have already cookies. String and then attach body. Bodies are nothing but our output method. So we are good. Next, we create a controller class, config class. Next, we need to add configurations, right? Let's use our port as 6001. We need to add the configurations, right? OpenAI configuration. If you go to the Spring document, so here you can clearly see what are the configuration is required to access OpenAI API key. Okay, so basically we need a base URL, OpenAI API key, project ID. I think if you are giving API key, project ID is not mandatory, and the model we need to give. Yeah, so any of these model we need to give, and I think those are mandatory configurations. After that, it's based on our requirement. We can do that. Okay, let me go ahead and add it. Okay. So I'm going to add OpenAI configurations. So here we mentioned the base URL and API key. This is the API key we exported. I mean, we created in the OpenAI platform and then exported as environment variable. For now, I'm going to use this particular model. You can change as per your wish. Even GPT-5 also you can use it. And we need to add one more configurations. The temperature. What are these temperatures? Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is kind of a controllers to the creativity of models output. Okay, it will be the range will be like 0, 0 to 2.0. Like if the value less, it's more deterministic. If the value is more than 1, it is kind of imaginative. So it has all the values has its own purpose. Like I'll add that. Okay, so here you can see the details. Okay, so if zero, it's more deterministic and good for facts, code, max. So it's basically give more accuracy. That's all about these OpenAI configurations. I'll add logging level. So since we added, you remember we added advisors, right? So I'll enable debug mode. Okay, I think we are good. We have everything to run our applications. Sorry, application. Let me start the application. Let's see. Okay, our application is started in the debug mode. Let me put a breakpoint here. So basically, we completed the second step. Let's test our backend application using curl command. For that, I'm going to use uh, a terminal. Okay. Okay, so here I'm going to send this curl command. The header application JSON is the endpoint. Our API is hosted. I'm going to send a prompt as hello. Okay. Okay, we see the control here, and let me pass through this breakpoint. Okay, so if you see here, hello, how can I assist you? This is the response we got it from OpenAI API. Okay, let's see the log here. See, this is the advantage of the advisors we have added in the bean, right? Remember? So this is the default simple logger advisor. So we have many advisors. Let's discuss one by one. So here, if you see, like we are sending this content hello to the open chat options. Here you can see the model, temperature, what we are sending, all the details here, and the output, assistance, annotations. So this is the response we got it from the API, right? So we have a token limits, token remaining, token reset, and the details we have. So this is the advantage of using the simple log advisors. Okay. So basically our application is working fine. Let's move on to the next step. What is that? Create chatbot front-end application in React.js. Okay, let's go ahead and create that. Okay, so basically I already created uh, chatbot application using React.js. So here what I'm doing, right? So I created the user state, all the stuff here, and I'm calling the our API here, passing application JSON content type as a header, and I'm enabling the cookie support since we need we are exchanging the chat ID in the cookies, and here I have all the designs for UI applications. Okay, so let me start it. So basically our application is started here. Let's go ahead and access this. Okay, so our application is up and running, and so from here we are going to send the request, right? Let me, yeah, we have a breakpoint enabled. Yes, now I'm going to send prompt. Something went wrong. What's wrong? So basically the request is not reached here, the backend applications. We have the issues. What issues? I think this cross origin issues is throwing here. For that, uh, we will add some annotation to accept only for our front-end application URL. So for now, this is not the ideal way, okay? But for now, I'm just adding this cross origin. For better approach, we need to handle it as a separate config file, configuration class to handle all this stuff. We'll add origins as our front end URL 9173. Right? Allow credentials. I'll make it as true. Okay. Now I restart my applications. Application is started. Let's go to our chat application again. I'll refresh it. I'll send hello. Okay, we got a control here. Let's pass through this breakpoint. See the results here. Okay, so now our application, the front end and backend connection is working fine. Let's just a few more prompt. My name is this. Okay, who is president of USA? So since this particular API is trained till June 2024, after that, since it's not trained, here if you see, I gave my name and I asked few more questions. Let's ask few more questions. What is the latest version of Java? Okay, so as per June 2024, Java 21 is the latest version. Okay, I already told my name to this API, right? Let's ask what is my name? My name. See, even I said my name before, but he's not remembering anything. I told, right? The LLM by default it is a stateless. You do not remember any history. So basically, we have completed the fourth step as well as fifth step. Correct? Let's move on to step 6. Here we are going to enable chat memory, right? Chat memory using in-memory storage. Okay, let's do that. So for that, we need to add uh, chat memory into our chat client bean. Chat memory. Okay, we will give this into our memory. What is that name? Message chat memory advisor dot builder. Let's all this chat memory to the builder and then build. Okay, and so we added a new advisor for memory for retain the memory. Here, let's pass this memory into our chat client prompt. Right, we need to add advisors and we'll pass a conversation the user ID, the chat user ID as conversation ID. Okay, chat memory conversation ID. Okay, chat user ID. Okay, so basically like it will remember our chat. Okay, based on our chat user ID. Here, what's happening, right? The first time in the cookies chat ID will be null. Okay, we will create a new ID and pass it to the chat client, and then in the response we will append same user ID and back to the React, the front end application. In the next chat, the front end application will send out the same chat ID in the header. We will get it here and pass it to the chat client. So that the API will remember our I mean, the API will consider our past conversation. Based on that, it will reply. Okay, that's a idea. Let me restart the application. And the application is started. Let me go to the application. I'll restart it again. Now, hello. Okay. You, my name is Rajesh. Okay, nice to meet you, Rajesh. How can I help you today? Who is president of USA? What? Okay, so as per June 2024 job island. What is the latest Java version? So as per June 2024, uh, Java 21 is the latest version. What is the latest Spring Boot version? Okay, so 3.1, 3.1.4 is the latest version. Now I'll ask what is my name? Since I already told my name to this API, what is my name? See, now he's remembering my name. But yeah, but here the thing is, if I open it, we are using in memory in-memory storage, right, for chat memory. Let's open this, and then here you have a default conversation ID as a default conversation ID. If you are not passing any conversation ID, it will take default as a conversation ID. That's what here it's saying. Let me open the implementation here. If you see, it will store only 20 max messages in our chat history. So that's the problem in the in-memory storage. Okay. Let's check that. Let's pass. Let's pass. Let's ask some more questions after the 20th conversation. Let's see what's happening. What is good food for health? Okay, let me do. Okay, so I have asked 20 plus conversation. Now I'll ask what is my name. It's my name. See, it forgot my name since my name I gave my name 20 conversation before. After that, it forgot my name. So that's a problem, right? So for that, what we gonna do? We will add chat memory with a PostgreSQL. Okay, let's do that. For this, we need a Postgres, right? Postgres should run. Let's add should run in the Docker. Let's add it as compose file, Docker compose file. Okay, let's add Docker compose services. Okay, basically I just gave the easy username, password, and the Postgres DB name. I expose these ports and added these volumes. Okay, and then next what we need the dependencies, right? We need a Docker compose dependencies, Postgres dependencies, and chat memory repository JDBC dependencies. Let me add those dependencies. Okay, so I have added all these dependencies. Let me refresh the form. And in the code wise, actually, we don't need to do anything since we just started the Postgres and added dependencies. This chat memory by default it will start taking from the database. Okay, let me restart the application. Now it will start access my Docker desktop. Let me start it. Okay, so application is started. Let's again access the chat application. Okay, let me refresh it. Now I'm going to do hello, some issues. Okay, Spring A chat memory doesn't exist. Let me access the application. So table automatically created. No, okay. Table is not created. That's the reason it's showing up this error. Let me check it. So basically, this particular table is not created during the startup. But okay. So basically, during startup, this schema is not created automatically. So we have to tell to the Spring AI create automatically during schema. Okay. So I'm giving for now always. So every time it will create a schema. Okay. Let me restart this application for now. Okay, it's restarted. Okay, perfect. Our application is started right now. Let me check in the table. Refresh it. Okay, see, the particular table is automatically created. If you check DDL, so this is the table created automatically. Let's try to access our application now. Refresh it. Okay, I'll send a prompt. Hello. Okay, we are getting the response. We are getting the response. Yeah, see, and the advisor logs also printed. Let me go to the application again. And then my name is Rajesh. Okay, and I'll add what is latest GPT version. Okay, as per June 2024, GPT-4 is the latest version. And I'll ask again, what is my name? Okay, uh, I'll give 20 more prompt so that we can check whether it's remembered or not, right? I'll do that. So I have sent out 20 plus prompt, okay? So I asked what is cursor, tell me about cursor here, okay? Now I'll ask what is my name, okay? So let's check why it's not giving. Okay, see, so this started storing from content. So he did not remember, it did not stored my name. Let me give my name again. My name is Rajesh. Let me check. See, now it's remembered. Now it's stored my name. I'll give just a number for now, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, even 22. Okay, let me check the database. So all the histories are stored. Let me ask my name. What is my name? Your name is Ravi. See, it's remembering my name right now. So basically, we have completed all the steps, whatever we mentioned in the list. So Chatbot application here is created successfully using the React.js Spring Boot application integrated with OpenAI API, and we checked the in-memory storage, PostgreSQL storage, all the things. Okay, that's all about for today. In the next video, we will cover the Gemini Google API and Vertex API, Grok AI API setup for this chatbot applications. And if time permits, we will add more AI APIs like DeepSeek and all other AI APIs. That's it. Thank you.